What's going on, y'all? This is John with Facemask Fantasy, and today I'm here to tell you to buy Will Fuller. Now, you might be ready to click to the next video after hearing that, but hear me out. This is all about opportunity cost. Will Fuller should be as cheap as they come in Dynasty, and to be honest, in redraft as well. He's not a young wide receiver. He's 28 years old, coming off one of the weirdest stretches we've seen from any wide receiver in recent memory. In 2020, he was Deshaun Watson's wide receiver 1 for the first 11 games, and he was the wide receiver 15 in standard leagues, wide receiver 16 in half PPR, and wide receiver 19 in PPR leagues over that span. He was on his way to bucking the trend that he was a boom-bust wide receiver, as he was a very consistent high-end wide receiver 2 on the season. But then he got busted for PED usage and ended up serving a suspension for the rest of the year. And everyone, including me right here on this channel, started talking about Will Fuller's emergence as a high-end wide receiver 2 being the product of PEDs, as his 2020 season was the only season in which he wasn't an injury-prone, high-variance wide receiver 3 or worse. Prior to the PEDs, in 2020, he had only played 11 games in 2019 and was the wide receiver 37 in points per game on the year. And in 2018, he only played 7 games due to injury, but he was the wide receiver 19 in points per game. And in 2017, he only played 10 games and was the wide receiver 31 in fantasy points per game. So most of the fantasy community connected the dots. His production when on the field has always been above average, around wide receiver 2 level, but his injury concerns kept him from being a true season-long wide receiver 2 until taking PEDs in 2020. So in 2021, he left Houston and signed with Miami, and he served his 1-game suspension stemming from his PED usage, and he was inactive in week 2, and he played in weeks 3 and 4, receiving 8 total targets in the 2 games combined, and only catching 4 of them for 26 scoreless yards. And then he was inactive for the rest of the season with a finger injury. Now that's the official report, but a finger injury isn't a season-ending injury. It's typically a 4 to 5 week absence at the most. We should have seen Will Fuller back on the field for Miami at some point, but he was dealing with some sort of off-the-field issue, and he never saw the field again for the Dolphins in 2021. So right now, he's without a team, and most fantasy owners legitimately don't know what to do with a player like him, who was only productive for an extended period of time because of PEDs, and he comes with off-the-field issues as well. But on the flip side, all this means he can be had for peanuts for a player that could be signed to a team like the Packers or the Browns, both of whom have need of a field-stretching wide receiver, and both of whom have very good to elite quarterbacks in Rodgers and Watson. Now, I know Watson has his issues to work out before we can expect him to see the field, but the upside of getting a wide receiver 2 that Deshaun Watson already has rapport with on his new team, with him at the helm for a couple of 4th or a late 3rd in this year's draft, if you're a contender, is definitely something I'd explore. And this isn't just a contender move either, as if you have a rebuilding team, you can most likely buy him for a few 4ths or a late 3rd if you have him, and then flip him for more capital next year after he gets on a team and gets on the field in 2022. If you can buy him for a few 4ths or a late 3rd in this year's draft, and then flip him for even equitable value, if not better draft capital in 2023, that's a win for a rebuild team too. So while I don't expect the world of him, I expect his value to somewhat increase. So just like the stock market, if you can buy low on him now and then sell high on him later, or at least sell for more than you bought him for down the road, that's a win in my book. So those are my thoughts on why you should consider throwing out an offer for Will Fuller. What do you guys think about it? Put your thoughts in the comment section below, or better yet, tune into one of our weekly live streams. We have a live stream every Tuesday and every Thursday at 6 p.m. EST. So come in, drop your comment on Will Fuller or any other fantasy situation in the chat, and we can have a real-time conversation about it. But thank you for listening. My name is John. This is Facemask Fantasy. Have a great day.